Hi, and welcome to Random Rogers Big Picture for the week of June 21st. Back from a video hiatus. I'm going to talk about one thing for sure and maybe get to a second administrative thing. But first up, the S&P 500 closing at 921 on Friday. It's kind of been volatile in a very narrow range, if that makes any sense. A few days ago, as it was headed down, there were a few comments that came in saying, well, looks like it's going to go below its 200-day. What are you going to do? This is in the context of my taking defensive action or using moves above or below the 200-day moving average of the S&P 500 to determine defensive positioning or being fully invested or transitioning between the two, which is really where we are now as we're kind of flirting with the 200-day. One point that I've made a few times before, and I don't remember where I first picked this up, probably from Bespoke, but I would have picked it up from them ages ago. But the fact that the 200-day is dropping pretty quickly. It closed, right now it's around 903. I think that's down pretty close to, I don't know, 7 or 8 points on the week, something like that. Whatever the exact number, doesn't matter. The point is that for now, the 200-day seems to be support underneath the market, and the way I use it, then by my definition, it implies that demand for equities is healthy. It's a very simplistic view, but I choose simplistic by design. There's been one reader who's been really pounding the table on preferring the exponential moving average, and the difference between simple and explanation, or simple and I just lost my train of thought on what the other one's called. Exponential, there we go. Between simple and exponential is exponential gives more weighting to closer days, so it might be a more accurate barometer, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe not. Relying just on that is absolutely valid. In that case, we are below it. The exponential it's in the 940s. I think it's 942. But either way, we're in the neighborhood of 20 points below the exponential. And so from that viewpoint, maybe demand is healthy. It's stuff like this, which is why, along with wanting to avoid being whipsawed, why I don't go all at once defensive, all at once back in. This process, for now, the 200-day is working. That may continue, the simple one. That may continue to be the case or not. I don't know. But what I want to get to is the comments about that came in. Well, it looks like it's going to go below, so what are you going to do? The looking like it's going to go below is not something that I would really worry about in terms of, well, what are you going to do? That type of asking the question. I can't front run clients. That's not what this blog is about. If someone were mimicking me, which is probably a rotten idea, and they do something a day or two after I do something, given that my time horizon is the entire stock market cycle as opposed to a couple of weeks, then it wouldn't matter if you don't hear from me for a day or two after I do something. But of course, you shouldn't be mimicking me. That's probably a bad idea. But it really, I think, emphasizes the point that you don't have to be so worried about predicting what's going to happen. I think you need a plan. If it happens, this is what I'll do. But in terms of worrying about predicting, which is kind of the tone I pulled from those comments, I don't think you have to be right about that. I don't try to be right about it. I have opinions, but I don't have to be right. I think all I said was, yeah, it looks like it may go below, but it hasn't. Being right about that stuff just doesn't matter. I think it's a Ned Davis book title, but someone out there, and I've echoed this sentiment in the past, what matters, being right or making money? And I guess I would tweak that a little bit for the current environment. What matters, being right or protecting what you have? This may or may not still be a bear market. I don't know. I've got an opinion that we're due for another, big move down. Again, it's an opinion. I don't care too much about being right or wrong. If it happens, fine. If not, that's fine too. But the focus is, for me, and the biggest picture is simply not letting emotions crowd in. Think about it. There is a very real chance that we go back down. I don't think I've quantified it. I think all I've said is some number that scares the hell out of a lot of people. Think about that. Are you going to get, if that happens, so I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm saying if that happens, what are you going to do? Are you going to have the hell scared out of you? Or are you going to have some sort of plan in mind to do something? Whether it's sell or buy, whatever, something planned out now while the hell is not scared out of you. This is the time to make a plan. In all likelihood, a run down to 700 or 800, probably a bad time to sell if you're thinking longer term. Hopefully you've had cash from way, way back, and now your dilemma is now the time to deploy a lot of that cash or little. I've only deployed a little of the cash. I would say I'm generally defensive on days that the market goes down. I appear to be going down less, which is what I had in mind for the time being. I've done the legwork in terms of figuring out what to buy next and how many shares everyone would purchase. And it's a lot of moving parts because not everyone can buy the same thing. But so that's planning, and I will just figure out, as we go. I mean, this is kind of a thing where I'm ready to pull the trigger, but I think I need to get something from the market. And so we transition from, very objective stuff to touchy-feely stuff. And sometimes you made this comment before, in navigating, something like this where we're clearly flirting with bull-bear market territory, there is a whole lot of art to go along with the science. And so I've acted with science, and now it's time to invoke a little bit of art and see where that takes us. And then an administrative point about the blog. If you read the comments this week, you saw that I'm working with an ad agency or an ad network. That's what prompted the change in the blog template. It seems like what we've settled on in terms of a template is working. In terms of being able to read. There'll be a couple of other tweaks that get done, which quite candidly are in my interest to have a shot at monetizing the blog. It's almost 5 years old, and the revenue from it is pathetic for how old the blog is and for being somewhat popular, not real popular, but somewhat popular. And so this is a chance. I don't know if it'll work or not, but it's a chance, and so hopefully you'll bear with that part of it and realize that it's something I'm trying to do for myself here, and continue to deliver what some of you apparently think is a pretty good website. All right, that's it. Have a great weekend.